Hello and welcome to Grocer Pod. My name's Sean Kosednar. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. That's right. I'm proud to say that I'm joined in the studio this week by AWG President and CEO Dan Funk. We're going to talk about his first year in charge as well as looking at what's to come in 2025. Before we get to Dan, I want to remind you to please subscribe to Grocer Pod. Subscribing means new episodes will be downloaded for you each week. You can find Grocer Pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or any other platform you use to listen to podcasts. Thanks for joining me today, Dan.
Hey, morning, Sean. How are you?
Very good. Let's go back to last January. What do you remember about your first day as president and CEO of AWG?
Oh, man. It's kind of it's one of those things where it's the catching the school bus analogy, right? Where you get in that first day and David had left in late December. And, I think it was just really a humbling experience to know that I've got the responsibility of all the teammates and the members and, what we're doing here as a company. So I think a lot of reflection on the work, that we've all done together to be there, but a pretty humbling day.
What excited you most about the job?
I've grown up my whole life in the grocery business, and I lived in a small town in rural North Dakota, and you just kind of get that grocery bug. And through that, through independent owners in various roles across the country, I love the grocery business. I love supporting independent retailers. I like the idea of banding people together to compete against bigger entities, a little bit of the David and Goliath. And I like that process. And candidly, through all of my career, I've been a merchant at heart, right? I like to buy things. I like to sell things. I like to work with people about how to grow their business. So this job and AWG in particular just really hits in all those spots. So just a great opportunity for me personally and for the company to continue to grow with our members.
What's something that surprised you the most about being president and CEO?
Well, there's nobody else to turn to sometimes. So, it's hard. I've been part of teams where I was really in a consultant type role a lot of times, right? I was advising, I was consulting, I was helping the CEO or other team members at that time. You get to that spot where you look around and everybody's looking back to you, and it's a huge responsibility, but it's also what you sign up for, right? So I think that part for me was trying to find a network of people both here at AWG, with the board, with other members, with other leaders in the industry, to build a network to continue to bounce things off of and learn from. That's one thing about this role is it's not like you get to the role and it's like, well, you got this all figured out. We have a tremendous, complex environment. And it takes an awful lot of people to try to help advise and counsel and get feedback from to try and make that be a success going forward. So that part has been, they say sometimes it's lonely at the top, and I think that set in for me very early because you're looking around for those networks and resources and people, and everybody's been great to try to support me through that transition.
Tell us some of the things that you're most proud of from the last year.
Well, first of all, I think the company, I give credit to the board and the company and everybody on really a very well-planned transition. And I think not for me individually, but for the company, I believe that the transition was, somewhat uneventful, right? Mm-hmm. We had a very well-scripted, very well-planned, so we didn't go through a lot of uncertainty when I came into the role, and with David retiring and me coming in, it was a really good transition. So I think how the company handled that, how the board handled that, how our teams have handled that, I'm really proud of that transitional time because you worry about losing some traction or some momentum as a company through that. Also, we had a tremendous amount of projects that were going on through the transition, as well as things we've taken on throughout the course of the year. Some of the largest ones, of course, the all-in-one facility in Hernando, how that project has continued to move forward now. We're seeing, virtually everything that we wanted to have under roof. The largest project that we've taken on in the history of the company, and where we are now in this January from where we started last January. Very, very proud of that project and team and the accomplishments. And, one that was near and dear to my heart too, I joined AWG leading the Value Merchandisers Company subsidiary. And that business has always been close to me since I've been here. And moving and integrating those product departments into the cooperative this year was a huge accomplishment. We had 25-year history of a subsidiary business, moving health and beauty and wellness and specialty foods, general merchandise into the cooperative as departments now that our members can benefit from all the synergies within the cooperative. Big accomplishment. And as I look back, something, really proud of what the team has accomplished there.
That actually brings me to something that I wanted to talk about. What does it mean to members bringing VMC into AWG?
Yeah, it's historically, because it was a subsidiary business, it was really designed to compete as a standalone business. And over the years, what's happened is there's been a lot of blurred lines in the grocery store and in the channels, and particularly with the growth of specialty international natural organic foods that VMC traditionally supplied. As we looked at the organization, it became clear integrating those departments as a department in the cooperative. So on a standard markup program, eligible for patronage based on the profits that those departments contribute to the company, and allowing our members to essentially look at that as one integrated part of the business. As hard as we tried at times to maybe have that look like an integrated part, there still were different processes and different procedures and actions and policies that went on between the two groups. So that transition really occurred throughout 24. And now we're really leveraging the infrastructure of both the team as well as the facility, as well as being in the cooperative now to help drive those businesses forward. So really makes it more seamless for the membership, and then they also continue to contribute with the profitability of that entity that will help come back as a patronage dividend to them.
Now we can start looking ahead to 2025. Can you say what are some of the things that member retailers can expect from AWG in this coming year?
Yeah, 25, this transitional year in 24 has been a challenge, for a lot of the industry. Sales have been challenging. Inflation is still tough. The consumer is still strained. So as we move into 25, we're really focused on a tremendous amount of merchant-driven activities that will help generate same-store sales. If you think through the pandemic, both our team as well as a lot of our member retailers have been focused on a lot of supply chain challenges. How we can get product into the store, how we can get product through the store, and through all of that, retail teams and our team here at AWG and even the vendor partner teams have been so focused on the supply chain that portions of merchandising the store and making the store come to life the way we need it to come to life to compete in the marketplace today have been areas that had maybe had less attention than others during the supply chain challenges. So we're really shifting a lot of focus on vendor trade and how to deploy that trade into the marketplace for competitive pricing, value, how to really take control of what we're doing in merchant activities, product placement, promo, all the key basic blocking and tackling. So a lot of effort in that space will come into 25. Also, there's a lot of transitional things going on in the marketplace. And it's important for AWG to continue to be a leader in the industry as well as a leader in the wholesale space. So you'll continue to see us be, very, very active in working with our members to grow. We want to grow, throughout our current footprint and continue to stretch that footprint at times. And there's a big need for independent wholesale distributors that are really focused on helping independents drive for the future. And that's really what our focus is going to be in 25.
You said something that made me think back to when you were younger in rural North Dakota. What would that Dan Funk have thought about this Dan Funk being a truly a leader in the grocery industry.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I got into the grocery. My parents actually owned a business when I was growing up. So I always tell people I took my first inventory in the third grade. So it's been around me growing up. But if I look back, I was so focused on wanting to be a procurement and a merchant and some of those that you'd set these kind of targets and say, well, that'd be a fun job or that'd be a great job. And I went through my whole career doing that, and I kind of ran to where the opportunities were. If there was a problem somewhere or if there was an opening somewhere. So we moved around an awful lot, and we kind of took it one job at a time, right? And if you look back now, there's no way that I would have imagined, all of the different moves that I've been fortunate and blessed to be part of. But you just kind of take it one step at a time, and you take it one role at a time. And I think sometimes you look back and it in a blink of an eye, you've got already 40 years plus in an industry. And I've shared with some folks recently this year, every paycheck that I've ever gotten in my life has been a result of the grocery industry.
Oh, wow.
And there's not very many people that can say that, right?
No.
Where that virtually every job I've ever had and it has been a result of the grocery industry. And that's a pretty cool thing. And I would have never imagined that when I started in that store, in the early 80s, which is a long time ago for many people that'll be listening to the podcast.
We all know that cost of goods is always top of mind with our member retailers. So I know they would want me to ask, what is AWG doing to help with cost of goods this year?
Yeah, it's a great question. We do an annual member survey, and for every year we've done the annual member survey. That's one of the top topics every single year. I'll tell you a few things that we're focused on. One is continuing to consolidate all purchasing and scale to get really our entire membership behind AWG so that we can leverage our scale in the marketplace. Critically important, particularly important in the perishable departments. Coming together, finding ways to aggregate to lower cost of goods in the perishable sides, very, very important. Finding ways that we can maximize vendor trade spending, both on the marketing side as well as the product cost of goods and the trade allowance side. Critically important. Our team has invested a lot both in technology as well as tracking and tools through the course of the last several years and really driving improved performance from the manufacturer all the way through to the stores on the dollars that are available. Lots of work that will go on there. Third, I think really just us focusing on how to improve performance so that the dollars that we do get are invested in the right place. So a lot of activities there. We've also looked at ways to join arms with people beyond AWG. And one of those ways is certainly through different collaborations or different partnerships. We recently have joined Topco as an example, a buying consortium that helps leverage size and scale for private label. And we'll have some benefits that we believe we'll get from that also by looking beyond ourselves. We have to be realistic about the marketplace and determine times when then it's right to scale. So those are areas. One of the other things that AWG and our members have been very vocal in also in working very hard is through initiatives within the marketplace to make sure that our independents are treated fair and equitably within the marketplace. And we do a tremendous amount of work with the National Grocers Association, who supports independent retailers across the United States. AWG's a proud member of the National Grocers Association, and we've done an awful lot of advocating with them, both in Washington, D.C., as well as in state, and at times even local areas within our geography, to fight for regulatory efforts that will help the independent retailer and it be really positioned in a fair and equitable manner. So an awful lot of work there. There's been some glimmers of hope there that we'll continue to see a fairness be illustrated to all retailers in America, and we want to continue to really fight on their behalf there as well.
I think that's some of the most interesting work that AWG does. I always love hearing about that work because, wow, I had multiple careers, and the thing that I do is, run a podcast here. I'm kind of removed from the grocery industry. I do really enjoy small business and local retailers. So that work that the company does really makes me proud personally.
Yeah, it's our members are fighting every single day. I always say against the world's largest retailers. And it's a fight every day in Main Street, USA, across our geography. And what our members do, and what that local hardware store does, and what that small restaurant does in communities, whether it's in a large community or small community. We have urban pockets, we have rural America, we have food deserts, we have all kinds of areas. But what they do every single day is so critically important to the communities that we all live in. And it's critically important that they have a fair shake to be able to compete with those world's largest retailers. And we're going to continue to do our job to leverage scale, to try to band our arms together and really work as that one team. And that's one thing I hope that our members here, our vendor partners here, everybody, is we're going to work together as a team to compete against those largest entities in America and beyond. And that's a really important part about what we do and what I think makes AWG unique and special. So I appreciate your feedback on that too, Sean, because we hope that message is resonating both with our team and, I know it resonates with our members because they're in that fight every day in the towns and communities that they live.
All right, Dan, one last question for you. I didn't tell you that this one was coming. It might be tough. How would you describe yourself as a grocery shopper?
Oh, man. I'm a tough grocery shopper. At our house, because I see all the programs. So I'm in the apps. I'm looking at digital coupons. I'm clipping in digital coupons. I'm spending a disproportionate amount of time in the grocery store versus what I really need to be shopping. So I get some lonely trips to the grocery store at my house, but it is funny though, because my team many times is less happy about me going grocery shopping, because once in a while there'll be the text and the picture and the, hey, what is this kind of a question, that comes over. But I enjoy it. I love getting in stores, in visits that I do across the country, not only in our own stores, but competitor stores. There's always something to learn. There's always something to pick up. Somebody's always doing something great in a grocery store. It's easy to find the stuff that isn't working right, but there's something always going on right. And I just love watching how other people do it, even our own members. You look across stores and they do something really, really great, and just trying to, how do you institutionalize? How do you do more of that? So I'm a long grocery shopper that's frugal, I guess. That's how I'd say it.
Well, Dan, really appreciate your time. I know our member retailers listening appreciate it as well. So thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks, Sean. I appreciate you and all our members for what they do every day. And we got a great team here at AWG, so a big shout out to our team members too. So thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe to Grocer Pod. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest things going on around AWG. And until next week, this has been Sean Kosednar with Grocer Pod.